welcome the Chair of Milken's Board of Trustees, Richard Sandler.
Good evening. I'm Richard Sandler. I have the honor of chairing the Board of Trustees of the Milken Community School. And tonight, I have the pleasure of welcoming you to the 4th annual State of the School. Go right ahead. That applause is for you. What we do here at Milken has never been more necessary nor more important for the future of our community and for the lives of our students. We live in a country where the Jewish people are a minority of just 2%. Yet, we live at a time where we are the most accepted and comfortable as we have ever been as a minority in the diaspora in our thousands of years of history. Yet, at the same time, we see an increase in anti-Semitic statements and actions. It concerns each and every one of us, and it presents challenges for our students every day as they are in school. And it will present even more challenges when they leave home to attend our country's colleges and universities. Likewise, we live at a time where there is constant criticism of the state of Israel. Though Israel is the United States' closest ally, it is the only democracy in the Middle East, and it's the only Jewish state on the planet. It is criticized in ways that we do not hear about of any other country on earth. And last week, we witnessed the worst terrorist attack in Israel in over a decade. Here at the Milken Community School, we are preparing our students to deal with these and many other challenges. They understand how important Israel is to all of us, how miraculous this 75-year-old country is, even if we do not always agree with the government of Israel or its policies, just as we don't always agree with our own government and its policies. Our students understand that they're part of a remarkable people with a remarkable tradition. That tradition will lead them to lead meaningful lives, and it will help them make an important difference in this world, as our ancestors did before them. They know, Milken students know who they are. They know where they came from. They know why it matters, and they are proud of it. We also live, as we all know, in a politically charged time and a very divided country. Our students learn how complex the problems we grapple with are and how to best analyze these problems and understand them. They learn to discuss these problems rationally and respectfully in our best tradition as they seek solutions. They're receiving, in short, an outstanding Jewish education. But they're also receiving an excellent secular education. They will have the tools they need to be successful in this complex and challenging world. Jewish education has been the centerpiece of Jewish life throughout history. And here at Milken, we gladly accept that awesome responsibility to ensure continued excellence in education. It's an honor for me to serve as the chair of the board of this school, alongside our dedicated board of trustees, our outstanding educators and administrators. There are a number of my fellow board members here tonight, and I would like to ask all of you to please stand with us this evening so we can recognize you for your leadership. Could my board members stand? Could we have some lights on the front? Thank you, and thank you for all you do. I also want to take a moment to thank our committee chairs, Marav Goslin, our Milken Parents Association president, our development committee, our whole development committee led by Lori Wolf, our admissions committee led by Gabrielle Baker and Nancy Schulman, Our Finance Committee, led by Leon Jenks. Leon has been intimately involved in every aspect of this school for over a decade, is an alumni parent, and is still showing up almost on a daily basis. And I also want to recognize our entire alumni board and alumni parent leadership committee. All these parents, alums, and committed leaders are at the heart of Milken. They are an inspiration to me and should be to every one of us every day. And of course, we could not do what we do here without you, our generous donors and parents and supporters. You invest in this school, and by that you are investing in the future of our community. We could never do what we do, as I just said, without you. And I cannot thank you enough for your important investment and for being here because you show support for this school. For me, the best indication of how well we are doing our jobs comes from our remarkable Milken Community School alumni. 4 of those alums serve on our board today: Jake Davidson, Rabbi Tova Liebig Douglas, Sean Rad, and Keith Wasserman. When I hear how they and so many others reflect on their time at Milken, their relationships with their teachers, their lasting friendships, and the responsibility they feel for repairing the world according to the values of our Torah, I take pride in knowing that Milken is the foundation for their Jewish futures. I've had the privilege over the years of serving our community in a number of capacities. I've sat in boardrooms and had the honor of leading meetings in Los Angeles, New York, Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem. I've had some incredible experiences over this time, experiences that mean a lot to me. But I could tell you tonight that nothing I have done could mean more, can be more important, or have a more immediate impact than the opportunity to work with our extraordinary leadership team here at the Milken Community School. In 2018, I had the honor of interviewing the Prime Minister of the State of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, on a stage in Tel Aviv at the General Assembly of the Jewish Federations of North America. The Prime Minister talked that day about the challenges he faced in the State of Israel. He said those were immense challenges then as they are today, but he was very comfortable that he could and would be able to meet them successfully with other leaders in Israel and with the people of Israel, as he reaffirmed his commitment to strengthening Israel for all Israelis, Jew and non-Jew. The Prime Minister also talked that day about his greatest concern that he did not feel he would have any control over. That concern is the survival of Jewish identity and Jewish values. He talked about the importance of a Jewish education in addressing that concern and our collective responsibility to ensure that our children understand who they are, where they come from, and be proud of it. As I stated a few minutes ago, here at the Milken Community School, we are fulfilling that responsibility to educate our children. Our future is bright. We are ensuring a Jewish future. So I thank you all for being here this evening, our parents, our alumni, our students, our faculty, our staff. You are the Milken Community School. And now, so that we can learn more about these amazing things I've been telling you about, it is my privilege and my honor to introduce an individual who each and every day reflects the values of our school and what we stand for. The incredibly talented and extremely committed head of school, Dr. Sarah Shulkind.
You were excellent. Thank you, Richard, for your leadership and for all of the work that you and the Board of Trustees do on behalf of our school. And thank you to Gabby and Aiden back there at the Milken Coffee Carts who launched this business as part of the Finance and Entrepreneurship Signature Program. A special thank you to my truly exceptional leadership team, whose work underlies every word to follow. And to the entire Milken community, thank you for being at the 4th annual State of the School Address. Last Friday, 12th grader Ophir shared a story with me that happened in April on his 11th grade civil rights tool. It started in Selma, Ophir told me, on a crumbling gravel pad where leaders of the civil rights movement stood. At his teacher's instruction, he carried a white stone across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. The stone, Ophir said, was to help him see himself as part of history. As he came to the monument on the other side of the bridge, he leaned down and squinted to read the inscription, which said, "In time to come, when your children ask you, what is the meaning of these stones? Tell them, here the Israelites crossed the Jordan." Ophir revealed that he was struggling with how to keep this memory alive, and part of that struggle was an inextricable sense of his commitment and his wrestling with his faith. Still wrestling with those questions when they arrived at Birmingham, he and his classmates heard from 89-year-old Bishop Woods, who worked alongside of Martin Luther King Jr. and Reverend Abernathy. Bishop Woods pulled the Milken 11th graders into a circle. He got them on their feet, and he started them singing, "I'm Gonna Let It Shine," the song of protest and perseverance sung at that very spot so many years ago. Bishop Woods, dressed to the nines, gave our Milken students a blessing. He blessed them to find God in the world and then in the people around them. Ophir told me that he felt compelled to give something back. So he waited patiently until the crowd dispersed, approached Bishop Woods and said, "Sir, you gave us a blessing. May I give you one in return?" And then Ophir said to me that without conscious thought, he recited the Birkat HaKohanim in Hebrew and in English, the 4,000-year-old prayer which comes straight from the Torah and is still said in synagogues and homes all over the world today. Ophir's story in many ways is an echo of Parshat Bo, which we read last Shabbat. In this parsha, Moshe addresses the Israelites just days before their release from 430 years of exile. But Moses talks not of freedom, not of the promised land, but rather he speaks of the duty of parents to educate their children. Like the inscription on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, Moses tells the Israelites to tell their story so that every future generation feels that they too left bondage in Egypt. It's Ophir's realization, actually, that the most powerful link between generations is the story of what came before us, making that story ours and leaving it as a sacred legacy to those who follow. Every year before graduation, Rabbi BK reminds our seniors of an essential truth. He looks at them and says, "You don't graduate from Milken. How could you? You can't graduate from a covenant. You can't graduate from the story of the Jewish people, which you have learned and which has both claimed you and been claimed by you, such that you are part of it forevermore." Or in the words of my favorite poet, Yehuda Amichai, "All the generations before me donated me, little by little, so that I would rise up all at once in Jerusalem. That is a big obligation." Our mission is grounded in this idea that at the most critical point of a child's development, we create a school that allows them to practice what it is to be a member of a pluralistic model Jewish community. It's a rehearsal of sorts, and one which is about growing our sacred legacy and reinforcing in our children their obligation to do the same. Over the course of this evening, with a foundational framework of our mission and core values, we will reflect together on where we've been, where we currently are, and where we're going. Let's start by hearing the wisdom of our oldest Milken students delivering inspirational words of Torah in their senior sermons.
ובמקום שאין אנשים, השתדל להיות איש. Only the sensationalism of his claims.
I'm here to ask you all one question. Why do we hate to be out of our comfort zone? Fear made sense 100,000 years ago, but nowadays it inhibits us from reaching our fullest potential.
We live in a world where the loudest and most attractive voices are amplified to an almost deafening decibel through social media.
The Torah discusses control over your fear in Moses' story.
Korach challenges the leadership of Moses and Aaron, claiming that they have no right to call themselves more holy than the rest of the Israelites.
Before his death, he said to Joshua, the man he was passing his leadership over the Israelites to, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go."
It would seem as though the Israelites would see through Korach's pretension, recognize his rebellion for what it was, a desperate power grab. He wins over the support of the Israelites completely and panders to their resentments towards Moses.
To take action isn't to be completely devoid of fear. Rish Lakish was afraid. So were the Maccabees and Joshua, but they all took action.
I find myself liking political candidates more when they have really nice web designs. I don't think I could say anything more Gen Z, but it's true. When I see some good serif fonts and a nice color scheme, I'm more willing to support that politician, maybe to forgive them when they say something that seems inaccurate or inappropriate.
Now let me tell you, as someone who isn't fond of public speaking, I decided that I wasn't going to do a public sermon. But when I filled out the senior sermon form, I accidentally clicked, I would like to give a public sermon. So I did the opposite of what my brain told me to, and here I am.
Every day we have opportunities to be a person, to look beyond the superficial, look beyond the siren call of groupthink and party over policy and personality over substance.
So I jumped, and it was amazing. Because every time you face your fears, you become less and less susceptible to them. If you're afraid of rejection, get rejected. If you're afraid of public speaking, speak publicly. And if you're afraid of heights, jump out of a plane.
To make decisions that distinguish us from the noise of the majority.
Tonight is a status update on our strategic vision, which we drafted alongside of 150 members of this community. Together, we concluded that Milken Community School is and continue to be the place that attracts the greatest talent, provides a life-changing experience, broadens and deepens our impact, leads innovation, and catalyzes transformation of Jewish education and the community at large. The rest of the evening will go through each of our priorities, showing where we are today and how we are visioning the future.